And, of course, if that isn't enough news, only the biggest contract, well, since forever, has been consummated in College Station, Texas. Jimbo Fisher is gone at FSU. This would be the lead story any other day of the year. Today it's number 3. He's the new head coach at Texas A&M. And Laura, the contract is amazing. We talked earlier today to Mark Schlabach.
You know, he's been there for 8 years. I think in today's college football, it's just rare for a guy to last any longer than that. I think he got tired of butting heads with Florida State's administration over facilities. And I think Florida State's administration got tired of hearing him complain about it. Both sides got tired of each other. Jimbo, if he had come back to Florida State next year, was going to have to make some really difficult decisions about his coaching staff, maybe getting rid of some guys who have been with him for a long time, like Charles Kelly and Rick Trickett, the offensive line coach, and Randy Sanders. And I think moving to another school makes that easier for him as well. But, Paul, let's not kid ourselves. This decision, a lot of it is about money. I'm told he's going to get a massive deal, $7.5 million a year at least. That's going to make him the second highest paid coach in college football behind only Nick Saban. So I think that has a lot to do with it.
So Jimbo Fisher, who used to work with Scott Woodward at LSU when Nick Saban was the head football coach. So Scott Woodward doing pretty well. He was able to get Peterson, I think, from Boise to Washington. Now he lands this man here. Pretty amazing hire. And what's so amazing is that it took us this long to get to it in the show.
I know. This is a crazy day. We thought it couldn't get crazier than Monday of this week. No, it's gotten crazier. And every single day has been a roller coaster ride. And maybe there will be more news continuing to come out of many schools around the country. But one thing about Jimbo Fisher, and I think this warrants being pointed out, the fact that he is consistently recruited as well as he has, and he's been doing it in a talent-rich state like Florida. If I'm A&M fans, I'm excited because this guy can come and have an immediate impact, I think, in recruiting in the state of Texas. And when we're talking about the early signing period, that so many of these schools are struggling to make sure that they have somebody in place before this early signing period in December, Jimbo may be able to come in and make an immediate impact. We've already seen Dan Mullen do it at Florida, getting a couple of kids over there to at least commit. And so it's just fascinating to see if that will translate, what he's done so well in the state of Florida will translate now to College Station.
And guess what? There's another opening at Florida State, and it's one of the most coveted jobs in the country. And by the way, not to get too confusing here, but you've heard a lot of names already. Willie Taggart, who's at Oregon, Charlie Strong. But what if Willie Taggart takes this job? Then what does Scott Frost do? Many people think he's already agreed to go back to Nebraska, but Oregon would probably try to go after him as well.
Good point. And by the way, it seems as though Scott Frost has been sort of pushed out of the limelight because we don't have any news. Everyone thinks he's going to Nebraska. Maybe Oregon would be a spot. And by the way, I'm not saying that this would happen, but why isn't Tennessee potentially still in the mix for Scott Frost? I mean, you never know. If he isn't signed, sealed, delivered somewhere, get back in the mix for Scott Frost. If I'm Philip Fulmer, he would be somebody that I would call if we find out that he hasn't already committed somewhere else. And with Willie Taggart, I mean, a lot of people thought that the ship had sort of sailed on him leaving Oregon because he had been offered an extension. We don't know if he signed it or not. And it seems as though he hasn't signed it yet. So that becomes highly intriguing as all this continues to play out.